everybody, and welcome to another live episode of The Grid. My name's Scott Kelby. We have a very special guest with us today, all the way from down under, from Australia, Stephan Bollinger. Stephan, how are you?
Good morning.
Stephan. Oh, it's Stephan. So it's Stephan like this. New York's hottest new club is called Ooga. It has yammies, key fobs. Anyway, it is Stephan, but it's not the Stephan from Saturday Night Live. Good to have you here. I've been on your podcast.
Thank you.
And you're an awesome guy. And I see you in The Grid. It's weird to see someone from Australia who's like in The Grid watching, and then here you are.
Yeah, it feels really weird. For me, Grid is the breakfast show on Friday mornings because of the time difference. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting there with my muesli and then, get ready for the day. And you guys are nearly done with the day. And I'm thinking, once in a while you pick something up. And it's good entertainment in the morning.
It is, but you need to have what's called an Egg McMuffin for breakfast. It's what all Americans do.
Is it?
Most Americans. Yeah, and Jen. Mostly Americans and Jen.
All right.
Every morning, Egg McMuffin. There's JR. Well, good to have you here. For those of you who aren't familiar with your work, and I know that many of you are, you have like a crazy number of followers on social, right? On social media? You have like 1.5 million followers?
Something like that.
That's a lot. That's a lot of followers.
Yeah, they're all personal friends. I know them all by name.
He knows them all by name, and he knows their backstory.
Yes.
So we're glad to have you here. Now you do a lot of things. You're very well known for your portrait photography.
Yeah.
Your dance photography. You used to be a photojournalist. You did sports photography, a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, you have to put some food on the table.
Yes, you did. Didn't you win a big award recently?
Yes.
In Australia?
Well, it's weird because in Australia there is this community of people of Switzerland. There's, I think, 100,000 people from Switzerland living in Australia.
And you're originally Swiss?
Yes, I'm originally Swiss. As you can tell by this weird accent that I have. I still can't make it out. It's sort of a little bit American, a little bit of Australian, and a lot of Swiss in there. But yeah, the Swiss government decided that they give me a prize for my work that I do for, how do you call it? Bilateral communication between Switzerland and Australia and culture.
Has there been a problem of communication between Switzerland and Australia?
Well,
has that been an issue? Like you need to have a council on that?
No, but usually creatives don't get these kind of awards, and usually we fly sort of under the radar. It's always, I invent the cure for cancer, or this and that and the other.
Right.
So that they actually then give such a prize to someone who
to a creative
creates. That means even more.
Yeah, congratulations. That's very awesome. Well, we have some people tuning in from all over, none from Australia today, but we have a good chance of New Zealand. I feel like New Zealand may be in the house. Alan says, greetings from New Mexico. Donna's here from Leesburg, Georgia. Joseph from Seattle. Photo Mo from Nova. Where's Nova? Where's Nova? Happy Wednesday, all. And let's see. Rabino Wen is here. Hi, Rabino Wen. Melanie Kern-Fabilla is here. We'll be talking about Melanie a little later on the show. Keith Pinn is here. Brenda's here. Oh, hey, so Keith is from Barrie, Ontario. And let's see. Brenda says, Brenda from Fort Wayne, Indiana says, critiques are my favorite, especially when Scott's grumpy. I got bad news, Brenda. I'm grumpy. So I just flew in from Venice last night. I got in after midnight. All right. Stephan went from Australia to Vancouver. How many hours? 15 hours?
Yeah.
From Vancouver to New York, one night in New York, and then flew down here. So we don't even know where we're at.
Zombie.
We're zombie. You know The Walking Dead? This is going to be the sitting dead today.
Yes.
So it's going to be very, very grumpy. Ben and Bridget are again looking forward to another great live critique show. Hello to all of our KelbyOne family. Hi, Ben and Bridget. Glad to have you guys here. Roberto Piscanti says, happy birthday, Dave. Is it Dave's birthday? Dave Williams' birthday today. Dave Williams. I saw Dave Williams in Venice. Isn't that odd? It is awesome. It was great seeing him. And we're going to see a photo of Roberto Piscanti in just a few moments. Ron Clifford's here. Hey, Ron. He says, Stephan.
Yay,
right there.
Ron.
Lori's here. She says, yay, it's been forever since I've been able to watch. Well, we're glad to have you here. Today, our topic, we have like a topic and a half or two topics. Our topic is, of course, blind photo critiques. We're going to look at a whole bunch of photos. But we're also looking at, let me close all this junk. We're also looking at kind of how to get in. A lot of people want to shoot portraits. They thought about shooting portraits. You're the portrait hero, so we're gonna talk a little bit about that.
Cool. Let's do that.
Up, Rose Kieran, an Australian today. She says it's great to have someone so close to home. Notice the accent? He doesn't have an Australian accent.
Yeah, mate, no problem. Fair dinkum.
That's the worst. You live there and you haven't gotten any better than that with the accent.
You know, the funny thing is, when you are in Australia, people always say, never ever lose your European accent because it's a little bit more creative.
Oh.
You know, when you have to be a little bit out there as a creative, and then you throw some French in or a little bit Italiano.
You sound like Serge there.
Yeah, you know, you have to mix it up. So otherwise you get it boring. So I hope I will never become the complete true blue Aussie. I'll keep a little bit of Swiss in there.
There you go. Well, hey, I do. Before we get cranking into this, I am just back from this workshop in Venice. So I actually taped a class while I was out there. Dave Williams joined us and taped a class on cinematic drone photography, shot up in the Dolomiti Mountains. And let's see what else we did. And we did a class with Mimo Madani, who is a long exposure expert living in Venice, and we did the workshop together. Mimo and I did the workshop. So I just got back. I just threw a couple of pictures together. I'm not nearly through, but I took this picture with my cell phone. So this is us lined up at night shooting a sunset. Now we are on the island of San Giorgio and looking towards Venice right there. And it's so interesting. So you have all these photographers. They're all lined up shooting the same thing, and everybody has a different photo, completely different. You would think you'd get 9 or 10 photos. There's 10 workshop participants, myself, and guess who was with me? Magic Juan.
Of course.
Yep, Juan was there. Let's go to Juan's Instagram account.
Underscore.
And see if he put up any pictures from the, nothing?
No.
Nothing? There it is, there's Juan. Oh, he did put up pictures.
Ooh.
Juan, did you shoot these with your phone? If you did, I'm gonna kill you. Those are your phone? You took that with your phone. Frick, I quit.
I'm so glad he doesn't.
Look at these shots. Go back to that shot. I was going to show. I got the same shot I was on the dock. Well, not the exact same shot, but it was something close. I don't have a gondolier. Well, I was doing a long exposure, so I wasn't. If there was a gondolier, they'd be gone by the time my exposure was gone. Wow, that's really nice, Juan.
Did you expect anything less?
No, I don't expect anything less. Juan's the man. I remember when we were there.
Do you recognize that they're all shot slightly from above? I think he's too much chippy.
You think so? Anyway, but we had a great time and we didn't get any sleep whatsoever. So I was going to share just a couple of quick shots from the show here. So this is. I'll just start right here. I'm just going to whip through these. I'm not doing the whole thing because I'm going to write a blog post about it on Friday, hopefully, and get into more detail. But I thought I would share just a handful here. Here's that same, but you can see it's the long exposure. So I'm trying to get the water smooth and glassy and get rid of anybody like walking by or anything. I'd surprised the workshop by, I didn't tell them this was going to happen, but we rented this incredible room and we found a local model and we rented a carnival dress and mask. And so at the end, I let the students shoot the whole time. And at the very end, when the students were going downstairs and the model was going to go downstairs, I just got 5 minutes to take a couple of shots just so I can kind of show what we did. But this was one of the shots. And that room was just unbelievable. And then on the way downstairs to meet the rest of the class, we're going down the stairs, and I said, can I run down there in front of you? And I ran down the stairs to get this shot real quick. Getting up early every day gets you a lot of empty streets and stuff. And this is an incredible, look, you see this circle on the bottom of the floor? See that circle?
Yep.
I took my camera and I laid it down there with a like a self-timer and shot straight up to the roof
Nice.
there.
Nice.
And that's a dude.
Giovanni.
That's Giovanni. Thank you. That was Giovanni.
Yeah, it was.
That was him.
Has to be. It's in Italy.
So we're with Mimo, so we're doing long exposures. And there we go. And I went all Mimo style on this one. He's he's like black and white and dark and dramatic. And so I went a little Mimo style there. You're thinking, was it really that empty? Yeah. You got up at like 6 a.m, and there he goes. Oh, so Juan just confirmed those shots were actually taken with the Canon M3 and not his phone. That's good because I'd have been suicidal there. I'd have been like, I'm selling. Okay, I feel a little bit better. M3, is that the mirrorless? Yeah, okay, that was taken with the mirrorless. I'm like, son of a gun, Juan, how are you getting these shots? I'm like, I gotta sell my gear and all there. There we go. So anyway, this one's another one. The only I had to clone a few people out, but the people that were in this picture were from our workshop. TNT Town asked, do you do critiques during your workshop? We do after every shoot. We do a shoot, and then we go do critiques and other stuff. Here's another long exposure. I got to get through these. Yes, I got on a gondola. Yes, I paid for a gondola and cruised around and got some shots. We did get into the Opera House. They have just an absolutely beautiful Opera House. We got a couple shots there and a gondola here and there. And then, I thought I had one more shot to show. Well, I guess I don't. Hang on. Let me just switch off my computer for a second so I can grab this shot. I don't know how I don't have it, but it is the most important of all the shots because it is, what?
Don't show those nude selfies.
I'm not showing the nude selfies.
No.
I thought I already showed those.
Ooh, don't put that on.
All right, so hold on. I got 2 shots to show you here. This one is with my co-instructor, Mimo Midani. That's Mimo and I at the glamorous bus stop waiting for the water bus. And here it is in all of its glory, from left to right, Roberto, Van Halen, Bon Jovi, Visconti, my buddy right there. Mimo, who, if you ever teach a workshop, he is the best guy in the world to teach with. Not only he's a long exposure expert, but one of the most engaged and fun and kind and patient and helpful guys on the planet. There's yours truly looking tired, and then there's Magic Juan. Look how Juan looks like. Hello, ladies. I mean, he's got that.
He shebangs it.
Right? Look at that. He's shebanging it.
Hey, the squinch and the chin down and the
Dude,
jawline.
He looks like a movie star.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
And usually we only see the thumb of him. So,
But he also looks a little like Negan on Walking Dead, doesn't he? Do you watch Walking Dead?
some.
That's not enough. All right, anyway, just wanted to show you some of those, and I want to show you some of my friends. We had such a great time. We had the best group, like with 10 students. The best people, the most fun. Everybody, I said, like, from the beginning, we have 3 rules. No whining. And then rule number 3, in the case you're concerned about either number 1 or 2, go back and reread number 1 or 2. Nobody whined about anything. Everybody got along awesome. They were all good photographers. We had fun, and we worked hard. We went from 6 in the morning to 8:30 at night. And we did take a break, a 2.5-hour siesta for lunch and then a siesta. Outside of that, Sundays we had 5 photo shoots. Classroom time, we did everything. It was just so much fun. And so that was just a blast. Anyway, everybody was there. It was so much fun. Yay! All right, now. Oh, somebody asked about a platypod. Yeah, platypod shot. I'll show you a platypod shot. You're going to know it's a platypod shot when you see it. Hang on, let me turn off the...
How do you read this stuff so quickly? You must be an alien or something. It takes me forever. Maybe that's the slow...
I want to find you a platypod shot right here. Look at this. Now, we used in fact, I was loaning out platypods. I took 3 of them with me and let people use them. So yeah, look how low I am on the floor. That's a platypod shot, and there's a couple other ones. But it was with me everywhere I went. I was platypoding left, platypoding right. Platypod left, platypod. And I'll show you another platypod shot. Right, wait. Oh, that's platypod right there. And where is it? Platypod, platypod. But I actually might have been holding the platypod, sitting on the floor holding the platypod, because sometimes I put it all the way on the floor, and sometimes I held it, I can't tell. But I use the platypod extensively. I shared it with all kinds of people. And guess what? We're giving one away on today's show. We're giving away a Platypod Ultra. We're giving away a Platypod Max. Somebody actually brought a Platypod Max to the workshop, one of the students. Brought a Platypod Max, and we're giving away a copy of my book. It is on press right now. It is my brand new Lightroom Classic book. And yes, it has all the new stuff that was just introduced last week. It's got all the new profile workflow. It has all of the new features in Lightroom, everything. It's brand new. And you know what? We held the book. We knew the profile stuff was coming, and we did not go to press. We had the book written. We held it until the very last, until, it was time where we could time it. But it is on press right now, and you can go pre-order it over at Amazon or Barnes & Noble or wherever fine books are sold. Fine books. So we'll be giving one of those away today on the show to some unlucky person. You know what Cheeky Nando says?
Oh, there we go.
Cheeky Nando says, I'm speechless. So many great shots. Thank you, Cheeky Nando. Hey, Cheeky Nando, I met the woman who started the Cheeky Nando drinking game. She came to my seminar right before I went to Venice. And she introduced herself, and she says, I'm the woman that came up with the Cheeky Nando. Seriously, I met her. She was so nice. Yeah, there you go. And then Cheeky Nando says, by the way, I finally got my flights to Photoshop World. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
All right. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about portraits first. And then we're going to do we're going to get through a lot of images today, but we're going to talk about portraits first because Stephan has some really, really good because I talk to a lot of people who shoot other things. And like at my workshop, when we brought that model out, some of the people had like never shot a person before, like outside of a snapshot, never made a photograph. Like a serious
person.
A photograph.
You have to be very careful in shooting people in this country.
Yeah. In this country, it's just everybody says shoot for everything.
All right.
Like, for example, if I make a mistake, I say, oh, shoot. Anyway. Photomo says, can Scott tell or show the bag he carried doing the photo shoots? I can. It's actually at my desk. So if my assistant, Jean, is watching, maybe she'll grab it, bring it out. Maybe someone will tell her. Margie usually watches the show. Margie. Hey, look at this. Donna, I love you. Donna says, I had my first chicken and a biscuit and spray cheese. It's surprisingly tasty. Melanie Kernfaville, I just ate my first chicken and a biscuit with easy cheese just now. Holy salty Batman. Yeah, the chicken and a biscuit, part of the magic is the salt. Anyway, hopefully someone will Photomo. Hopefully I will show you the bag. It's the best bag in the world, and I will show you why when the bag arrives on the set. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're talking portraits. We're going to do blind photo critiques and a whole lot more with our special guest all the way from some foreign country, Stephan Bollinger. Stephan.
Ooh.
It's the hottest club in New York. It's called...
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey, hi. We are back. Welcome, everybody. Scott Kelby here with Stephan.
Come on, do it.
The hottest new club in New Zealand is called...
You watch too much SNL.
They've got whammies. They've got jammies.
Of course they do.
And they've got Jen Coffin.
And no spray cheese.
It used to be a CVS. Then it was a Bank of America. Then it switched back to a CVS. Anyway, glad to have you guys here. We are talking about how to get into the portrait game and how to, is it right for you, and are you going to have success in there? Hey, before we start, just two quick things. I want to answer a question for Photomo. He said, can Scott tell or show the bag he used doing the photo shoot? This was the only bag that I took with me for my photo shoot. Right here. Look how small this bad boy is. The official name is the Turnstile 10. Everybody asked me about every person in the workshop eventually made their way over and said, so can you tell me about this bag? All right. So first, the main compartment has 4 compartments. The main compartment will hold 2 lenses. Now, I didn't put 2 lenses in here. Here's what I put in there. I put a 70 to 200. I only took 2 lenses. So I wanted a wide angle, and I wanted the other thing. I took a 16 to 35 and a 70 to 200. So at 70 to 200 goes right there. In the side pocket, I put a ball head for my platypod. All right. I also put a couple of batteries in there, whatever. In the front, I had a couple of packets of Splenda, extra memory cards. What? Oh, Splenda. Can't get Splenda over there. Can't get it, kids. Bring your own. Anyway, so I put all kinds of stuff in the pockets here. Then back here, there was a whole nother pocket inside where I put the actual square metal cases for my Haida, H-A-I-D-A, neutral density filters.
Oh, I see.
And it actually had, I could put 2 of them in here and the step down ring. So I had a 10 stop and a 3 stop. I had all that in there, but it'll also hold an iPad or whatever you want. And then in the very back is another slot, and that's where I put my platypod. In the back, there was room for a whole bunch more. So it was so lightweight. And there were people on my tour that were carrying like a lot of it. In fact, I see Scott Berger, who was he's carrying I gave him a bunch of crap because he brought a mirrorless camera and 70 pounds of gear.
Oh.
And everybody that buys a mirrorless camera does it because they want to go light.
Yeah.
But I'm serious. He handed me his backpack the last day during lunch, and I didn't think I could get it back up with one hand. I like, everyone stand clear. It was the heaviest thing in the world. And he goes, that thing rocked at Venice. But I will say this, despite the fact that he did bring the heaviest bag, there were pros doing weddings that didn't have a bag as heavy as his. He was a great photographer. He took some amazing images. We had a competition at the very end, and he was right in there to the last second. Was he going to win the best shot? He got that classic shot of all of the gondolas, and it's the shot he came to get, and he freaking crushed it. But he had a bunch of good shots. Really, really great guy. A lot of fun. And Scott, because you are so cool, I have an extra platypod for you.
Ooh.
Don't go buy one. We're going to send you one. Compliments of your friends at the Grid and the awesome folks at Platypod. So just wait by whenever your UPS comes, and you'll see one of these appear in a box. So there you go. He's getting one. You don't even have to enter the contest because you already won. All right. Johan wants to know, Scott, what camera body did you bring? I shot everything with a Canon 5D Mark IV. And by the way, my entire rig weighed 1/16 of Scott's mirrorless camera rig. Scott wanted to make sure that there was absolutely no situation whatsoever that he could possibly run into that he would not have the right gear for.
But maybe, who knows, maybe that was part of his workout.
That was too. We got a workout. One of the great guys that was in there said he walked in his pedometer 87,000 steps. That's a lot of steps. Let's just throw that over there. All right. So we have lots of comments and stuff. Oh, look at that. GW Clark says, I watched Chris Knight's new class before the Grid. Great class. Oh, Chris is so good. Chris is so good. Hey, did you happen to notice that, like, that Profoto ad? Also want to welcome Profoto as a new sponsor for the Grid. Yay! Woo! One of Chris's photos was in that Profoto ad.
I didn't even see that. I missed it.
You missed a Profoto ad?
I saw the Profoto ad, but I was looking at
Oh. So Chris's thing about his class, one of the photos that he took is in the I know. It's incredible. By the way, the Profoto ad, we couldn't hear the music. All we could see were the images. Everybody in the studio went quiet watching the ad. And Stephan says, you know it's good if everybody just stops what they're doing and watches. You know, like the images were that oh my gosh.
You look at some of those images and you just feel like leaving your own camera in your bag because it's just
Says the guy who wins all the awards. We're going to look at some of
come
your
on.
work later. Your work's amazing, and your work would fit in there like no problem.
I'll pay you later.
So let's get to. I want to talk to you about the portrait stuff because I want to make sure that we have time to get to our blind critiques today.
Yes.
Because the people that send in their critiques, and by the way, you asked me about this at lunch today, and I just want to let you guys know that sometimes we get literally hundreds of entries. If we don't pick yours, because people go, I've sent in 5 times and never picked mine. It might take 20 times before we get around to it. We don't do it by who's the best. We look at them and choose ones that we think that we can help. Like, I don't want to open up 15 in a row and go, these are great. Nothing to tell you. Move on. Oop, these are good too. Oop, those are great. You know what I mean? We try to pick a variety of things, unless we have a big topic, a variety of different things. So that's why if you haven't gotten yours critiqued yet, we don't go through there and go, you're not good enough to be critiqued or something. It has nothing to do with that whatsoever.
And then the really, 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 really bad ones, which never make it.
We actually put them into an incinerator and they never make it. Yeah. James Devlin says, speaking of chicken and a biscuit and cheese, how long has that box been next to the monitor behind you? That's a relatively new box, by the way. I'd say it's still fairly fresh, and we're going to find out at the end of the show. Breaking news, Suzanne says, Easy Cheese is now available in Germany. Do you know why, Suzanne, why it isn't available in Germany? Because I'm starting a worldwide craze. People all over the world. Somebody at my workshop said that they went and bought Easy Cheese and chicken and a biscuit, and they were surprised how good it was. I am opening people's minds to different cheese delivery methods. All right, let's talk about portraits.
Yes, what would you like to know?
I'd like to know how to get into the game.
How do you get into the game?
For someone who's been shooting other things, because people that are just getting into photography, most of them do everything else and they do portraits last because they're intimidated to do them, or they don't feel like they have a reason to do them. Who should be shooting portraits?
Well, I think at the beginning when you pick up a camera, you're just so fascinated by that thing that you just point it at everything, right?
Right.
And I mean, that's what the passion does, you know? I mean, if you have a soccer ball, you kick it against the wall, and then at some point you look for a team, hopefully. And I think with the camera, it's the same thing. But while you shoot whatever is around you, you don't have to interact with it. You know, you can climb a mountain, as we talked over lunch. You can climb a mountain, you can sit up there in your yoga position and sing hallelujah, and you have as much time as you want. But the moment you talk to a person or you photograph a person, you now have that issue that that person is talking back. And now, out of nowhere, it's not just your taste, it's not just your style of what you want to do. Now you have expectations on the other side. And you like blue, I like purple, the next person likes orange. Who is right? Nobody's right. And I think a lot of people have a problem with that, because you can't just say, I'm an artist, I do whatever I want, right? So now there's, you know, you change from being just a photographer to a service provider. You're now working with someone else. And then the other thing is that a lot of photographers that I meet are introverts. So it's quite difficult to go out and talk to people for a lot of people.
That's a good point that you say about a lot of people being introverts. I agree. I meet a lot of photographers who are introverts, and they don't really want to talk to people. They just want to do their own thing.
Yeah, but that doesn't work if you work with another person.
Right.
Unless you just, I mean, there's some purist photographers out there, portrait photographers out there who say, I don't do anything, I'll take the photo exactly how it is. I think that's more documentary photography rather than portraiture in my book. Like, you know, Leibovitz, she sits someone on the bed and takes a black and white photo with a little bit of light from the side and creates her art. Yes, there are those, but the majority is that you have people in front of the lens that need to be helped. They need to be guided.
Engaged.
And you have to get their mind off the fact that they're sitting in a studio environment, there's big lights, there's big cameras and all. Even the most confident person, when they get their makeup done, they crumble the moment they are in front of a big rig, and now out of nowhere they're like,
yeah,
you know? And I think that is a big hurdle for a lot of people to then really engage and, talk to them and take their minds off the situation. Because at the end of the day, we want to capture something that not only pleases us as photographers, but the other side that might have a different taste, that might have a different opinion. They hate their nose or don't like their hair or whatever. And now we have to get them into a comfort zone where they feel good about themselves again. And then once we have them in that moment, we can actually take a photo that they can't do with their own mobile phone. And I think that is a big part of the secret is it's not about the gear or the lights or any of that stuff. I mean, that's all the technical stuff is so easy to learn, right? If only there was a website where people could learn about these things.
If only. We can only dream.
Yeah, if there would be something that you could just watch some classes. And, I find it funny. You post a photo on social media, and the first question you get, what lens did you use? What aperture was this? I'm like, seriously? Like, do you guys at home, do you got like 20 seconds time? All right, shoot a close portrait at 200 f8. Otherwise, both eyes are not in focus. If you would want to do a Peter Hurley, he shoots at 92 mil. All right, that's probably about a 6.3. If you shoot at 85, you might go down to 5.6. Otherwise, those eyes are not sharp. Done. Write it down. Let's move on. Yeah. It's not difficult. Everybody can learn it. But when it comes to interacting with people, when it comes to seeing how you can help somebody with a big nose in reducing the shadows and make that nose a little bit smaller, you don't have to fake it in Photoshop. You can just move that light a little bit, right?
Or you can fake it in Photoshop.
If there would only be a class for that.
I wish there was a class on retouching people.
Yes.
Where would people go? This is crazy. I wish there was something like that.
Yeah. Maybe we find something.
Hey,
But-
there's a question coming in, Stephan.
Yes.
What camera do you shoot with?
Whatever I have there.
What do you normally shoot with?
Nikon.
Nikon, like a Nikon what?
810 or 850.
Do you call it a Nikon or a Nikon?
I call it a Nikon, and in Japan, I believe they call it a Nikon.
The whole rest of the world calls it Nikon.
Okay.
It's just the U.S. and one guy from Switzerland.
Yes, I call it my camera.
Your camera?
Yeah.
Those you got an 850?
I got an 810 that I travel
Yeah.
with because I leave the 850 at home because I can't afford to drop it. in
How do
New
you
York.
like that 850?
It's beautiful, but I actually prefer the 810.
Really?
Yeah, because I process the images faster because they're a little bit smaller.
A little bit smaller. Do you do your own post-processing? Tom's asking.
Yes, I process mine.
Hey, Art Maripol has a comment here. He says many photographers are introverts because introverts are also observers. But eventually, you learn you can't take photos from the back of the room. Oh, well done. Well said. Well struck, Art.
Well,
Hey, that's naughty, by the way.
that is not.
Just we're used to it. Jen's on the show. That's naughty. That's kind of naughty.
You don't see anything.
That's naughty.
Yes.
I'm just used to saying that because when we look at Jen's website, it's just, it's unbelievably bad.
Yeah, you won't find anything that a kid couldn't look at on my website. Even a policewoman.
How old are your kids? What, 28, 30?
Excuse me, when you look at that photo as example, the one
Yeah.
that we just had before,
Yeah.
you see more skin on any kind of Florida beach.
That's true, but here's the difference. We're not on a Florida beach.
No. But seriously,
I know, I'm just messing with you.
I think the dangerous part about this one is a
She's got a
policewoman
gun.
with a gun showing that she also has a female side, but she is also not taking any crap from you.
Well, there you go.
So it's untouchable, but beautiful.
Theory Danis, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, says Juan has the "how you doing" style from Joey and Friends.
Yep.
How you doing?
You
All
come
right.
here often?
All right. So, can I ask you about something you showed me earlier? You were talking about a portrait that you made that had a special meaning to you.
Yeah, well, I think that in whatever genre of photography we are, we sort of repeat ourselves and we become like copy masters of our own thing. And I find it essential that we set ourselves little projects so that we, don't become just copies of ourselves.
Right.
And when you talked about Venice, there's one of those projects that I set myself was when I went to Venice last time, I wanted to recreate a photo that I found in the archives or in an old book of my mom. And it's actually this photo here. So that's a photo of my mom taken in Venice in, I think, 1974, something like that. And when I went to Venice, I thought, okay, I want to find that exact spot, pretty much exactly where she stood, but create my own photo of it for her. So I actually looked around, and it's, quite a bit of time to find that spot, and that is the exact spot. Now, talking about no tourists, I got up 4 o'clock in the morning. I was there 5 o'clock, and I waited for the very first tiny little bit of light and then long exposure to get that photo, so that it has that sort of, back in the day when Marco Polo came back to Venice. It has that old feel, but it's a modern photo. And, coming from this to this, that just was my project to, find a spot, but do my own thing. And, I love it.
So that's the Doge's Palace there, which, of course, was still there then. But I don't know if you noticed that they're actually tearing down the Doge's Palace, and they're going to be putting a Walmart there.
Of course.
So,
right
very
next,
surprising
right,
to
right
read
next,
that.
Right next to McDonald's.
Right. Oh, that's nice.
Yes, that's another thing. We always talk about how can we improve photos. This is an old saying, have a better subject in front of you. Why do my portraits look so good? It's not because I'm the best photographer on the planet. I just work with a lot of really beautiful people, which helps greatly.
Well, thank you, Stephan.
Yeah, see? And this one here is another example that's, shot very early in the morning. And luckily, there was a little puddle there, creating that little bit of reflection. But it's going around, having a look. And to be honest, as much as I enjoy these sort of photos, I'm just a people shooter. I always get back to finding people, some that I can direct, or some like in this case, who do their washing. And I think that is so important when you travel, that you find those people, because that's what we can relate to the most. We talk to people, we listen to people, it's their stories, and that tells, for me, a photo like this tells more of the story of the city, how people live, than some of the most amazing landscape shots where you just miss that human element, or maybe that's just me.
Hey, Gary has a question for you, Stephan. He says, how long did it take you to be comfortable with directing this subject?
I've been doing this now for 25 years, and I've always been a very loud, in-your-face kind of person. So I think it's more difficult to shut me up than me to talk. So for me, it was never a problem. But I can see that a lot of people have that problem, and my advice for them would be to have a very long conversation in the mirror with themselves. Because we all have something to say. We just have to make up stories, and break that ice. And I think that begins long before the shoot. When you have a beautiful young woman there, or a beautiful young man, and they're getting their makeup done, sit next to them, ask them questions, be honestly interested in them, not just pretend, because I think we smell it very quickly.
Oh, sure.
It's this gut feeling. Is it fake or is it real? Be really interested. And then very quickly you find some common ground to talk about it. Maybe it's a certain sport that someone likes, or a certain food that someone likes. You find a common ground very quickly. And you can do that before a shoot. Find that connection. And how to overcome it? Well, I think you just have to. Otherwise, go back to your mountain, into your yoga stand, and sing hallelujah, and just do your landscapes, which is perfectly cool. But if you deal with people, I think you have to become a people person.
Well, I think that people that are people persons are drawn to shooting people. I think if you're like, for example, can I tell you a story from my workshop this week?
Sure.
I have a guy in Venice. He's a wildlife photographer. He brought me as a gift his wildlife calendar, and he had all these great wildlife shots and stuff. But so, and he goes on workshop after workshop to Africa to shoot wildlife. But to talk to him, you can't find anybody that's more of a people person than he is. So he's in there just talking to everybody, talking to people on the street, getting people to pose. He's talking, I'm watching him, and I'm like, anyway, we do these critiques, and he sends a whole bunch of photos in, and they're all shots of people. And they're great. And I told him in the class, I go, look, I know you love wildlife. I know that you're fascinated by the danger of wildlife. He's got all these lions and leopards and all, like, where he's feet away from them and all. And I'm like, you're a people person, and your people shots are amazing. And I think when you're a people person, you are drawn to people. Yeah. And I think that if you're a people person and you're not shooting or photographing people, it's something you've got to try. I think everybody, because there's that, if you have a connection with people, that connection will come through in your photography.
Yeah, it's also, I find it's very easy to tell stories. For some people, it seems a little bit harder, but once we're at the bar and share a beer, we all tell our stories, right?
Right, sure.
So, I mean, I'm from down under. I'm walking out of the studio. I'm standing there with my assistant, and out of nowhere, he just goes really white in his face. And I'm like, what's going on? And he just, with his eyes, sort of looks down. I mean, don't forget, we're in Australia. And I look down, and I see, like, very slowly this black snake between our legs. And you just look down, and I have no idea about snakes, but I look down, and that looks like one of those really poisonous ones. And you just stand there and go like, holy shit, I'm gonna die. Now, that never happened. That scene never happened. But it's a story. It took you for a moment completely out of the set. For a moment, you were there. You were seeing us standing there. I don't have an assistant, right?
I see.
It's storytelling. It's taking people out of a situation and making something up sometimes, And we can all do that. We do that over the beer. So why don't we do that in a photo shoot?
I don't know. You did say photo shoot just now, right?
I did shoot a photo out there. Yes.
Right.
And if this guy loves shooting wildlife, photographing wildlife, I don't know, maybe he likes to shoot them as well, but let's stay with the photos. If he likes to do that, it doesn't mean that you can't do 5 things at the same time.
That's true.
I mean, as example, I shoot a lot of food. Why? Because I like to eat it, but also because I approach food photography the same as I approach portraiture.
Oh, that looks yummy.
With the exception that doesn't talk back to me. Well, until I eaten it, and then it kind of talks to me. But I take photos of food as example, just to go through, with the same approach as I apply to portraits. For me, these are portraits, but instead of just being, how do you call it, just a product shot.
Right.
I light it like a portrait. I make sure that the light is behind. A lot of people make that big mistake and saying, oh, the sun has to be in the face. No, you want it behind people. I mean,
right.
If only there would be a class and a book about
I wish.
Outdoor. I stopped plugging you now.
Thank you.
Okay? But, it doesn't mean you have to do one thing only. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying a lot of people are afraid of working with people because they think it's so difficult. I think where it becomes more difficult, and that's just a question of repeat, rinse, repeat, is when it comes to the finer things like posing, lighting, angles, how to make a woman who doesn't feel so sexy look sexy, how to deal with someone who might not have the perfect model figure and make her look still absolutely gorgeous and amazing. That has nothing to do with aperture or any... Of
course.
That is then the finer arts of put that elbow a little bit down or, going beyond the squinch and the jawline. But those things, and these are things that I believe you cannot learn by watching a YouTube video. This is something that you just have to do and do and do.
Yeah, nothing beats experience. I mean, at the end of the day, you can read stuff, you can watch stuff, but nothing will ever replace experience.
Yeah, I watched a lot of basketball matches. I can't get that ball up there.
Juan can.
He can everything.
Juan can dunk. Hey, you know what we're going to do? Here's what we're going to do. Oh, Rose says, and she's from New Zealand, and we read everything Rose says. Rose says, you can learn to become a people person.
I think so.
I think so as well. Tom S. says, shooting in another country, any laws on photo releases?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Tom, that's a very large topic. But the first thing, Tom, I would tell you is to understand what a photo release does, when you would need it, because in most cases, you will never, ever need a photo release. But it just depends on what you're going to do with the photo. So, Tom, if you're a KelbyOne member, go watch our classes on model releases and stuff, and it will be a shocking, eye-opening, surprising, freedom-giving, and at the same time, a disconcerting thing. Hey, we're going to take a short break, or we're not going to have any time to do any photo critiques. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we've got some stuff to do. Hey, just want to mention I'm going to be in Columbus, Ohio, teaching my Lightroom seminar. When? Well, I go tomorrow. I guess I'm there Friday. Wait, no, tomorrow's what, Thursday? Yeah, I guess on Friday. You know what I do? I come home from Venice, and then I go to Columbus, because they both have a us at the end. Venice, Columbus.
Kind of.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to be in Columbus. That makes me want to see you there on Friday. And they're going to the jib, so I can't say anything else. So we'll be right back.
Yay.
Jib shot. Go
Jib
way
shot.
up there. Way up, up.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Hey, we are back, ladies and germs. Stephan's here.
Yes.
The hottest new club in New York. Anyway.
I'll come back when you've done.
No, wait. You're going to New York tomorrow, right?
Yep. On the plane tomorrow morning.
All right, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What's New York's hottest new club?
No idea.
It's called No Idea. They've got key fobs. Anyway,
Oh, God.
let's see. Jocks says, I just watched Terry's class. Great. All right, Terry's the man. Terry. Okay. Hey, you just saw a little thing about Melanie Kern-Favilla's personal side interview. So Kleber does this series where she talks to photographers, but not so much about their photography, because every interview with a photographer is about their photography. The personal side is actually getting to know the person and to get to know their life, and they're so fascinating, they're so wonderful, and Melanie is just such an awesome person. So we're excited to have just released her personal side interview. If you're a KelbyOne member, go watch it. You will fall in love with her and her work, but just her story is just wonderful, and she's wonderful. So those have become such a big thing on KelbyOne. People love those interviews so much. So if you get a chance, go check them out. I think you'll really enjoy them. Lastly, for the Photoshop World Conference is coming up here shortly. You've never been to Photoshop World?
No. Because nobody ever invited me.
Well, that's so sad.
Nobody loves me.
Nobody loves you. Anyway, however...
For the rest of the world.
For the rest of the world, come to Orlando. It's coming up in the end of May. It's May 31st, I think. June 1st and 2nd. There we go. May 31st, June 1st and 2nd. It's the Hyatt Regency in Orlando's Convention Center, and it is going to be a blast. All of the great people are going to be there, including a new instructor that I'm going to announce next week that has never been to Photoshop World, a new international instructor. That's crazy. So anyway, got lots of great stuff. We got lots of shooting opportunities. We got all kinds of fun stuff, and we got some parties and all kinds of stuff for you to come and enjoy. Hey, my band's going to play there. My band's going to play at the party. But we're also doing an Instructor Jam Session. So we're going to have friends and other instructors come up, and we're going to jam. So we're doing a set of regular music and then a set of jam. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
I would know somebody who could sing.
Yeah, you're like an accomplished singer. You've been like on West End productions in London, and you've done all kinds of things.
As to go by the gray hair, I had a previous life.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were in cats.
Yes, we even have a cat at home.
Well, there you go. That's proof. That's absolute proof.
There you
Anyone
go.
that has a cat was in cats. All right, you guys ready for some blind critiques? I know that they are. let's.
There's a funny comment right there. Bruno says, "I'm married. I can get my wife to pick on my work anytime. Never shortage of critiques." I think one of the reasons why we do those critiques is that if you ask your wife, depending on if she thinks that it's annoying that you always spend so much time on your photos, she will always rip everything apart. But generally speaking, all the people that we know and are close to us, they always give us praise.
Yeah, they're
and
the
it's
least
so
likely.
hard
Yeah.
to actually get someone to honestly tell you, this is amazing, don't listen to all the crap on the internet, this is great, or I'm sorry, but you have to sell your gear.
There's got to be something in between.
Is there?
You're about to find out.
All right, let's go.
Suzanne says, love you, Stephan.
Oh, love you too.
The hottest new club in New York is called Suzanne. All right, Ron Clifford says, Photoshop World rocks. I agree, Ron. Thank you. All right, let's take a look at our first three shots. So we've asked folks to send in 3 shots. We're not going to give their name. We don't know their name. That's why. We're not going to give their name. And we're just going to show 3 of their photos, which we have 1 here, 1, 2, and 3. And we have 3 shots. And then we're just going to give you an overall quick critique on these. And not bad. I mean, obviously, a photographer knows what they're doing. This shot's kind of nice. Now, it looks like they shot it at f/22 because you can see those very defined lines of the sun. This is like a really technically accurate photo taken at, what is that? What arch is that? It's not Delicate Arch. It's the other one. Bob's All Night 24-hour drive-through arch. What's it called? Mesa Arch. Is that Mesa Arch?
Yeah, I think so.
Could be. Juan says Mesa.
Usually we see
Survey
it from
says?
a different angle.
Yeah, but I like this. I think it's a nice angle. I like the way. I've got one that's kind of similar to this, but I like this shot. But that's what's so disconcerting about this shot. And I think what you did here was that you got suckered into the clouds. Good clouds, really ugly, nasty foreground. It's just kind of and you're seeing the clouds, and you're like, wow, those clouds are amazing. They are. But unfortunately, it's half of a good photo. Good sky, bad foreground. So this, not that. All good. Good foreground, good sky, good sun. Good guy. This, not so much. And this is a splash of water. It's not bad. You obviously have the technical stuff down. It's time to get picky about what you shoot. Now, this looks like I'm going to almost bet money you're on a workshop here. I'm going to bet money you got up early, went out there. There's 55 photographers with you.
And they're all shooting in the same direction.
You're all shooting the same direction. But I'm going to bet this was not at a workshop. This is the day after the workshop when everyone's left. And you went out there. This is me being grumpy, this is where we go. Anyway, you just need to work on shooting some more interesting stuff. I do like that you're shooting in the right light. For example, that's the right light. That's getting close to the right light. And that is just as the right light is about to go away, but you still would call that good light. So you've got the technique down. You've got the light down. It's time to find just a little something more interesting than that. So as bad as that all sounded, you're actually doing pretty good.
Yeah, well, I think the technical stuff is there. Now I miss a little bit more artistry.
Yeah, creativity, artistry.
Yeah, and with these kind of shots, I know it really sucks you in to have that exact moment when the sun goes down and you get those little spikes. But sometimes I'd like to see that 10 minutes later because the colors will be more intense. And if we would go away from those f/22 and go down to an f/5.6 or whatever, I think we would get a more emotional image because it creates more depth rather than seeing everything. I know that little star there is kind of cool. But
Yeah, it's like the classic shot.
yeah, but I think, yeah, find the emotion in the picture. Forget about the technical. Obviously, you know the technical. And now do some soul searching of how to create pictures that are touching on a gut feeling rather than on the eyeball.
Here, yep. Good. Totally agree. Don't take that the wrong way.
No, that was a compliment.
Yeah, it is a compliment. You're on the right track. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, I want to go down to some of these here. Let's go look at this one.
Speed critique.
So, one shot. Number 2. And number 3. Well, these are nicely done.
Flat.
The lighting's very flat. You're outdoors, natural light, but the eyes still look good. It is kind of flat lighting, but I think that's what you were going for.
Well, let's put it this way. Number 1, you got 3 beautiful subjects, which already creates 3 beautiful pictures. If you shoot Quasimodo's sister, you're in trouble. If you shoot someone pretty, well, you're already 90% there. So that's already a huge bonus. I find that these 3 young girls or young women would look far more attractive if they would have some dimension. They look very, very flat. And in reality, they wouldn't be that flat. I would bet
You're talking about the lighting looking flat.
I'm talking
like
about
no
the
shadows,
lighting.
depth and dimension. Or
Yes,
anything
exactly.
Like that.
And not just going into Photoshop and burn the living daylight out of it, but turning them a little bit so that we have more direction of light. I feel at the moment, can we zoom into those eyes? It looks like there's like a ring light or something like that going on.
I don't know. I think maybe just a reflector. Hang on. Let me see if I can do this.
Anyway, since we have to do the speed critique, yeah, there's a lot of straight light going in. So when you look at that's even more beautiful.
Sorry, that was me.
No, that's
my stupid monitor. There we go.
That's Scott's way of doing makeup retouching. Yeah, I miss, when you look at the iris and the pupils, if they're defined, it shows a lot more soul. If you have that deep black in the middle without those fancy dots that Scott is doing.
Sorry, I don't know what. I don't know.
It's fine.
I moved my stuff, so you can see it now.
I think it's good. I mean, so many things are right. I mean, we were looking at a low resolution file that is now blown up. So obviously, sharpness, technical, everything is cool. I would just try to find direction of light. See where light and shadows fall. And the other thing is, I have a feeling that this was shot somewhere around the 50 mil, or maybe even with a 35, probably more on a 50 mil lens. Try to shoot with a 85 plus, and that nose would become a little bit more nicer in terms of facial proportions. I would suggest go on YouTube, learn a little bit about lens compression, what lens compression does for you, especially when it comes to facial proportions. Faces usually look the best somewhere from, Peter Hurley would say 92. I say 110 to 200.
I would say, 110 to 200. I agree.
That's sort of my guideline where I think is...
But Peter's he always talks medium format when he says 82.
Yeah. Well, he talks a 92. That's
no,
sort of
92,
his latest is 92 6.3. But there is also...
yeah, but also... Peter's not doing this style of portrait.
No.
This is more of a natural light thing. Peter's talking about in the studio where you're supposed to be in focus front to back. That's a different genre.
Yes, headshots. Now, the one thing that annoys me a little bit with this photo, she is gorgeous, but see that line behind her, the horizon, whatever it is, it completely takes my eye away from those gorgeous eyes. That
so
line, that line there. I don't know how this happened. I always find if something is not straight in the picture, it has to be done in a way so it looks like it was done on purpose rather than by mistake. Not everything has to be straight. You can tilt the camera to give it certain dynamics, but it always has to be done so as a viewer, I always get the feeling this was done on purpose rather than by mistake.
Right.
And when I look at her, she's straight, but the background is sort of and it throws me away from her. That's yeah.
So Mike asks, would a gold reflector help? No. I don't think this is. I think this is more than a reflector to help it. Well, number one, the gold side is just going to throw some more warmth into the photo. I don't think warmth is the problem. I think dimension and depth is the problem. Some lighting would help, or positioning her to make better use of what natural light is. This just looks like she's shot in the shade on a. And this is not a bad photo. Don't get me wrong. This is not a bad photo. But if you want to make it better, let's bring out some lighting. Let's bring out a something with a softbox to get some depth and dimension, because the lighting where you're shooting this looks so flat, and I think that's the case for all three of these. That one's not so bad because I can see a little, but the shadows I'm seeing are really from the cup and not from anything else. I mean, they're cute expressions. They're well posed. The hand under the chin thing though is kind of.
Yeah, but it's cute. I mean, she's at that age where cuteness still counts, and in this case, we have some dimension, and the direction of light.
Yeah,
here,
this one has the most dimension of the three.
Yes. So
you can see shadows on the other side of her nose and her face, and this is probably technically the best one, except for kind of where you cropped it.
The other thing is, as a little hint, if you don't have lights, if you are one of those, I'm only a natural light photographer in brackets because I'm afraid of strobe. No, sorry to say that.
I think this one's lit.
It may.
Look at her eyes. There's a very clear catch light. I think this one's lit, and it's also kind of bright and punchy. Look at the shadow. Oh, it is lit. Look at the shadow on her arm. The arm that's under her chin.
Yeah.
Look about halfway, like right here.
It's a very harsh light. It looks like speed light kind of.
Yeah, this is lit. This one's lit.
But going back to the natural
and it's
light,
the best looking one.
As
far as dimension and depth goes.
So if you only shoot with natural light, maybe not in this case, and you have problems with creating that dimension, you know, if you shoot in the middle of the day, you will have that problem in a lot of spaces, but you can always move the subject to somewhere where there is some shade. And what I mean is you can block light. So let's place someone next to a tree and use the tree, not in the picture, but to create that blockage of light. And you can walk around that person and just with your eyes, not with your camera, but have a look what the light is doing on the face. Turn the model a little bit this way, a little bit this way, or walk around, have the person stay how they are, and you just say, freeze, do whatever you do, and then you walk around them.
Yeah, you can't move the sun, but you can move.
Yes.
All right.
Zoom in with your feet.
But actually, a nice job on this photographer.
And
you can get a little
sharp
more,
and well done.
A little more depth. Yeah, I mean, they're well done. Little more depth on there. We're just looking at what would make it better. Those aren't suffering from a whole lot here. Let's take a look at these.
You've never looked so good, Scott, in a red dress.
You're very kind. That's not actually the shot I wanted to use there. I wanted to do that. There we go.
Okay, that's quite small.
Yeah, they're kind of small. Thoughts?
Unmotivated.
You're unmotivated?
No, not me. When I look at those three photos, they're technically well executed.
Yeah.
But they give me a feeling of the girls are not motivated. The first two shots are different than this one. It looks like she really doesn't want to be there. The second one looks like she really doesn't like the photographer. And the third one has a little bit more action, but it's cropped in a really weird place that throws me off.
Yeah, that's
right
really
at the
close
at
to
the kneecap.
Ooh.
It's just, if you have a flowing dress like that and so much motion, you really want to go full body, I believe. Or go really close, and then the flying fabric just becomes kind of an accessory. But as it is, it really throws me off. But the first two, while they're beautiful women and seems to be a nice set and a nice dress, it's very unflattering, the pose.
Yep.
So let's put it this way. Technically, 100%. Well done, sharp, everything well done. Light, a little bit too flat for me, but that's maybe personal style. But now, when I look at it as a viewer, I feel I don't feel engaged. You know, when you
You don't really
flip,
feel anything.
yeah, if you flip through photos on any social media, you wouldn't stop for those photos. You would just go like, ugh, and go. You might stop for this one because it has some dynamics to it, but then you would flip further.
Yeah.
And-
I'm with you.
And the first one, I would really have a look at, you know, the last thing that a woman ever wants to hear is that her bum looks big. Right? And if your wife or your girlfriend ever asks you, then the only proper answer is, I will not comment on this because otherwise I have to sleep on the couch.
That's
This-
not a good answer. That means, you know.
So if your wife is an astronaut and she stands there in her full outfit and asks you, does my bum look big in this? What do you say? You just be quiet.
No, you go, big? If anything, it looks too small in that outfit. That's the right answer.
All right.
By the way, I ask a different question. I always say, does this butt make my pants look big?
Okay. Because you're just a little bit smarter than me.
It's a joke.
Yes. Now, look at when you look at that photo, I would say, what can I do for this woman who is obviously very, very, very beautiful? But where do we look? There's so much fabric there. The face is not really grabbing attention much.
Yeah, this one really does pull it off, but not this one.
Yeah. It seems disconnected and uninterested. And I need that somehow invitation from those eyes, from the face, from the pose, for me as a viewer to be sucked into the photo, to stay with it. Because nowadays the internet is full of images. So yeah, find that connection. That
Yeah. Carissa asks, what if you don't have an 85 millimeter? I only have a 51.4, 18 to 135, and a 55 to 200 kit lens. Go with a 55 to 200.
Yep.
Put away that 51.4. It's a very unflattering light for women, especially. It's going to distort facial features. It's one of the most unflattering. By the way, if you ever want to prove this, go on Google and search for 85 millimeter portrait versus 200 millimeter. You'll see 100 side by side. You'll never use a 50 again to take a photo of a person unless they are far away, like a full length and they're far, far away.
But wouldn't you then go for a 35 to have that more wide angle look?
I wouldn't
Yeah.
go with a 50. I don't even have a 50 anymore. I sold my 50.
And by the way, a lot of people say, oh, 85 is like the perfect portrait lens. My theory to that is an 85 1.4, at least in the Nikon or Nikon world, is a very expensive lens. What people do is they buy a lens and then they say, well, it is the perfect lens. Why? Because they spend so much money, so it must be good. I believe that 85 is too wide for a perfect portrait.
I think the 85 has a look.
Oh, I love it.
If you want that super shallow depth of field, one eye in photo, it can be great for weddings. It can be great for certain portraits. It can be wonderful. Who is it that shoots the 85 exclusively, Jen? That was so. Irene. Irene stuff is off the chain, and that's all she shoots.
But she steps 2 steps further back. She's not that close usually.
No, she's not that close. No, getting close with that kind of lens is tough.
Yeah.
I would never shoot somebody really up close with an 85. It's just not flattering enough. Let's take a look at these. Here we go.
Nice colors.
Yeah, I like the tones of this one. A little bit too much headroom, but I like it. Nice color, nice tone, nice shadows.
Good processing.
That's cute.
Very cute.
These are all good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to cut off those knuckles if I could help it. I'd like to get a little more of that in there.
No, I would tell them not to do that because
Yeah, don't cut the knuckles.
her face tells me I'm really, really happy, and her fist tells me I'm gonna punch him in the face in a second. So there's 2 messages in the same photo. If we could only get that hand out or gently on his back, and then that would be
Yeah.
A great photo. Beautiful processing, great
Yeah.
color tones.
Nice.
Same here. I would cut a little bit of the headroom.
Yeah, I'm going to go do that real quick. It just needs...
And just vignette, just a little bit on the left and right. It doesn't have to be too much on the top. And if you just
That's better.
darken the right side there a little bit with the gradient, just take
Little
the
darker?
clarity out and put the contrast up. And look how it now guides you to her when you do the before and after. How much that now really guides our eyes to her. But I think beautiful color tones, good
this
good-
is the
good
best
grading.
photographer so far. Yeah, nicely done.
good grading.
Good stuff. It's easy when it's good stuff, yeah. Johan wants to know, Scott, is the Nikon 20-4 to 85 a good portrait lens, or would you go for the 85? Johan, if it were me, I'd go for the 70 to 200 and use the 150 to 200 range. I mean, honestly, if you want really flattering portraits,
Yeah.
if you're going to go for the 85, I'll give you a tip, Johan. The Nikon makes a 1.4, an 85 1.4. It's very expensive, and it's pretty heavy.
And the
You can
1.8.
get the 1.8, which looks almost identical. Most folks would never know the difference. About half the weight and less than half the price. The 1.4 is like $1,100, and the 1.8 is $495.
And if you
Less
shoot,
than half.
If you shoot both of them at 2.8, you don't see a pixel of a difference.
Yeah, if you showed them both wide open, you would not notice the difference. All right, but good job on that, photographer. Let's
Yes.
roll on. And this is right up your alley. You do a lot of dance photography. Hey, before we look at these, here I'll just show you these briefly. Can we look at his machine? He's got some dance photography. Can you show us a couple of dance shots here?
I can do that. So we just go through very quickly.
By the way, can you go back to that one? I can do that.
Of course you can do that. She learned that from you.
Juan saw me do it in Venice.
You try that without falling over.
Okay, I can't do that one. I'll be honest with you.
All right.
These are beautiful. I can do that for sure.
That's how we pack our suitcases, don't we?
Yeah. I can do that. I love that. Can you go back one? That's lovely. I love just the shape and the little bit of, what is it, smoke on the ground or something?
Yes.
Just a
there's-
little bit. That's very nice. That's a lovely portrait.
And it's just one light.
It's lovely.
One light from the left.
Lovely, lovely.
And these are from different productions. I just love, and I'm also creating all that light. So this is all my lighting.
Oh, that's your lighting?
Yeah, that's my lighting design.
Wow.
That's all my lighting.
Look at you.
I'm creating all those impressions which then I can photograph. So I think with dance photography, it's all about the direction of light and using it sparingly. So if you go back to the photos we just had,
Yeah, if we'll switch over back here. So let's start here.
when you look at this, there's no direction of light. It's pretty front on, right?
It's like a car headlight.
And you have to understand, dancers spend days and days and days, usually 5 or 6 days a week in training and to get their techniques perfect. And one of the big things is, of course, getting muscle tone, the perfect shape of the body, and the perfect lines. And you cannot capture that by hammering light from the front because you need highlights next to shadows. So you need to get the light further to the side. Don't light the dancer from the front, light the dancer from the side, or at least 20, 30% degrees. And
Can we switch over to Stephan's machine for a minute? Here's what he's talking about. She's just lit from one side.
which creates that dimension. If you zoom in, you see there is muscle tone, right?
Yeah, and shadows and highlights. And
when you look at the upper body here, you see every single part, where that's what they train for. They train for perfection, no matter what level of dancers they are. So if we go back to the photo before,
And switch back to my machine, please.
it lacks that dimension. And the other thing is that the back foot, I mean, let's not go too deep, but the back foot technically is just not correct. You know, if you do dance photography, you have to spend a good amount of time understanding dance technique. It's like if you go on and shoot any kind of sport, it would really help if you understand the sport.
Of course,
Not only,
that's the secret.
you not only know when to push the button, but also what angle, which photo is worth it, which photo is not, which photo is the standard, or wow, I've never seen that move before.
Yeah.
And I think with dance, it's the same story. So for me, it's too flat. What are the other two? That is kind of cool, but she's dead center in the frame. She needs to be higher up to give an impression that she jumps high. And again, I would move the light to
Yeah,
the
the light's
side.
very flat. This is going the right direction.
Yes, and that is shot on a parquet floor, so it looks like this is actually shot on stage, so someone else did the side light for you. But the rim light is cool. I think it's a great shot.
Yeah. Hey, what's I gonna? Oh, Ed Alexander says I'm doing headshots tomorrow. 85 or 7200. 7200. Here's why, Ed. When you use an 85, like a 1.2, a 1.4, or 1.8, you have to understand how to focus that lens. There is a different technique than for every other lens. When you use those super shallow depth of fields, for you to actually get them in focus consistently on time, there's a completely different focusing technique that you use in your camera, number one. Number two is you don't have to do that with 7200. You'll nail it. You'll nail it. Just be at 150 or 200. You're not going to have to do any crazy focusing techniques, but you have to understand and really use an 85 right, or you'll come back with a whole bunch of photos that are out of focus, and it's going to look bad on you for headshots. Let's see. Johan wants to know, are two strip lights, one on each side of your dancer, a good way to photograph a dancer?
If you place them behind them and really create that silhouette kind of look with the rim lights, it can be good. I would prefer to show a little bit of the face because it's an expressive dance.
How about just one strip light?
One strip light or even a beauty dish or a bare bulb further away to really get those chiseled muscles. But it's a performing art, and a big part of performing arts is emotion, and emotion comes from the face.
All right, let's look at another one here.
Oh, I can drink when you do that. That's your world.
All right.
Oh, look, there's faces in it.
You know, I like all three of these. Of course, I'm a sucker for spiral staircases, and I think this is nicely composed, well done. I like the post-processing. This is so interesting with the children looking in. I think that's really well done, and it looks very appropriate in black and white. And I think this is nicely done. I think, and I really love having the two people in there for scale. I think it's really important in this case to have them in there. You wouldn't almost be sure what you were looking at without them, so that was a good call to have your two subjects in the bottom right corner. This is an easy one. Nicely done. I like when you used color, and I like when you didn't. That was easy. Really nicely done. Good job.
And the third one, I would guess, was the Reichstag in Berlin.
In Berlin, I thought it was. All right, let's see what we have here. That looks like a composite.
I don't see anything. We're not on.
Oh, we're not on screen. There we go.
All right.
I doubt she was on that rock with that light. I love the look at the water behind her.
That's great.
What happened here?
Yeah. Two great composites and one photo that shouldn't be in that series that has nothing to do with the other two.
Yeah, and it's not even on the same level as the other two or anything. Don't show anyone this photo.
Well, it has been discussed many, many times that you're always judged by your worst photo. if you have a portfolio of 10, 15 pictures and there's 9 absolute stunners in there and 1 that sucks, sorry to say like that, nobody's going to call you because they're afraid that the photo that you take of them is like the worst one.
By the way, sucks is not the least worst thing you've said on the show today.
Okay.
They caught that one, did they, Jen?
Actually, I don't think too many people did. I think one person said, okay, but that was it. I think it slipped by.
I'm sorry. I'm saying what I think.
He says what he thinks and he cusses. He's
I'm
a cusser.
so sorry.
That's
I will
okay.
behave.
This is America. You'll be deported by noon. Here we go.
All right, so this one
it's got to go.
Let's pretend we haven't seen this.
Yes. So these are good.
Gorgeous.
Nice. And I like the
Gorgeous.
concepts.
Yes.
Let's move on, shall we? Yeah, let's.
Okay. 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 So 2 portraits and a snapshot.
I would say 2 snapshots and a portrait.
Okay.
Because this looks like something you took with your cell phone camera with the flash turned on.
Yeah.
This looks like you're trying to make a portrait. And this looks kind of snapshotty. You had a great quote about snapshots. This is really great. This is a good one to tweet. He said this at lunch, and I was like, man, that's a quotable. He said, what a snapshot is. A snapshot is the photo I take with my phone to see if the photo is good enough for me, the scene is good enough for me to go get my camera out.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, I'm going to use this to go, is there anything here? Nah. Or, okay, with a good camera, this might look good.
Yeah. For me, the iPhone pictures are my Polaroids these days.
Yep. Oh, I just jumped up in my chair. Whee! All right. So that's what this one looks like in front. It's unflattering light. It just looks like, hey, my friend and I were at a bar and I took this shot.
And if you would crop this, we don't need to see the top of the hair. We all know that, it most probably is not open. So if you would crop this dramatically down, even more, there, out of nowhere, he becomes already a way more interesting person.
That looks a lot better, but the lighting's still bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
And
Bad light.
And you can tell by the catch lights, it becomes this evil. And if you get those raccoon eyes because the light is so high up and there's no fill from underneath, it's just not
You don't
flattering.
see a pupil and an iris. It's just a big black dot.
Yeah. And then the white little catch light that is coming from so high up.
Shiny nose, shiny forehead, shiny everything.
I would suggest to everybody that in your camera kit, before you think about which 12 lenses to carry with you, go to a chemist and buy some translucent powder. It doesn't cost you anything. Put that in your camera bag. Whoever you photograph, men, women, dogs, well, maybe not the dogs.
Depends on the dog.
Yeah,
Dachshunds, definitely.
use powder. Translucent powder will cut down those shiny bits and helps you wonders.
All right, we're almost out of time here.
Of course we are.
This one just looks a bit overlit.
And if she plays, I would want her to be a little bit in the mood.
Do you have an in the mood shot?
I got an in the mood shot, but since I'm be in the mood when you play, like this or this. Feel it.
Oh yeah.
Feel the instrument. Feel. Oh, that's too close. I shoot high res, but feel what you're doing. There has to be that. Same here. If you. There's some feeling in.
Look how sharp that is. That's sharp, baby. What was that taken with an 810?
810.
That is incredibly sharp.
But that's what I mean. When you have an instrument, if you go back, she doesn't actually play it, and it could be so emotional. And I think that's what I miss in a lot of photos. I can deal with a technically imperfect photo when it touches me.
Sure. Yeah.
It's for me, at least for me, it's more important. Of course, my photos have to be sharp because people pay me for it. But when I look at photos, if they don't touch me, it doesn't matter how sharp they are.
True. Alan says, if you use a crop sensor camera, do you still get the lens effect on a shorter lens? Alan,
Yes.
don't fall for that. A crop sensor camera. Look, here's your picture, right? So using a crop sensor. So instead of this, you're gonna get this. How does that change what the lens looks like? Instead of having it this wide, now you have it this wide.
I think what people confuse is an 85 becomes a 115 in terms of the amount of part that you see, but
Right.
it doesn't change
It does
the lens
not.
compression.
It does not. Do you always use a tripod?
Yes.
He always does. He's super sharp. All right.
I'm not super sharp,
All right.
but
So
my
this
images
photographer.
are.
All right. You got some work to do.
Yes.
You need to work on your lighting. You need to work on your expressions. You need to work on your emotion. You need to not take that photograph.
That's a good photo if you are there and you take that photo to show to your relatives where
yeah,
you've been.
I was there.
For that, it's a cool photo.
Yeah, but it's not a photography. It's
No.
not photography. It's a snapshot.
Yeah.
It's the photo that you would take to go, should I bring out my camera? And the answer would be, nah.
No.
All right. All right, a couple more we're going to roll here.
Just a tiny little too low.
Yeah, it's cropped a little too tight. I mean, I like a good low picture like this, but
Yes.
this one's a little tiny little bit too low. I'm going to excuse the fact that it's in a harsh time of day because this photo actually looks pretty good. You got an amazing sky there. This is a shot of nothing, and this is nice. This would be great before that sun came up because now you got kind of, the light's kind of
And turn the camera just a tiny little bit towards the right.
Yeah, I agree. You got a little bit too much of the left side, but that's pretty good. This is very nice. It's a
Beautiful.
little too low. This isn't. What's the subject? If you had to say what's you can't just go, oh, it's just the scene. No, like I can tell you, this is a shot of a church. This is a shot of a mountain and the sun. What's this a shot of? There's a sun in there, but it's not a shot of the sun. This is just this needs work.
Well, I don't think it needs work. It needs a 400 mil lens zoomed in, and then becomes like an abstract with those, with
It
the
needs to
sun
be a
and-
different picture, I think is what
Yeah.
he's saying.
Okay.
All right, so you're 2 out of 3. But remember, for a landscape photo to be a success, generally, it needs to have a clear subject. If you can't really describe what you're very clearly in one word, it's a church, it's a mountain, it's a rock, it's a bear. If you can't just go, well, it's just what you're seeing in front of you, then there is no subject. It's just kind of All right, real quickly, let's go take a look right here.
Nice.
That's a nicely done commercial shot.
Beautiful.
Oh, baby. That's pretty nice. His expression's a little disconcerting. He looks like he's ready for the shoot to be over, but it's lit nicely.
Yeah.
Let's just go,
Gorgeous.
baby. All right, nice. Just good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Got anything bad to say? Nothing. Good. All good.
Only
Except for him.
take the writing out.
Well, it could be maybe that's the
Well, if he-
CrossFit gym he works out.
Yeah,
or
if he
something.
represents that, but generally speaking, as soon as there are words,
We read
our
'em.
eyes are going straight there.
Yep.
So if you want to make it about him and not about that CrossFit T-shirt, make sure that there's no writing in T-shirts.
Yep.
We're conditioned to read.
Last 3. Here we go.
Your world.
Way overexposed.
Lack of contrast.
Flat. Yeah, lack of contrast. Flat looking photo. Got to fix this. This is a post-processing thing. But also,
Is that snow in the back?
that's snow. There's just a guy there in the background that's not at it. Where the action is right here, right? What's this? You got to get rid of that guy. Now, this is not going to be a great crop, but I'll give you an idea. A guy watching from the distance is not awesome. Your shot is somewhere in here. If you want a more dynamic shot, it's somewhere in there.
I guess it's missing
But
the legs
it's also, well, yeah, it's okay to miss the legs. They don't show full body every time you look in Sports Illustrated or ESPN or whatever.
True.
But it's a really flat looking shot, so we got to work on that. Next shot, this is kind of nice, long exposure. Stadium's empty. This one's pretty good.
Is it crooked?
It is crooked for sure.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the stadium could be like if you ran a line across here to here, but I know what it is. It's not crooked. It has a horizontal alignment problem. So I'm using Camera Raw, which I hate, but it does have it needs to come this way to fix. It needs to be kind of like that.
Yeah.
So look at the difference here. I'm going to give you a little before. It's crooked within itself.
Yeah.
So that is you weren't standing in exactly the right spot, so you have this horizontal issue, and now you'd have to recrop the photo, which you can do very easily, and that would fix that. See, now it doesn't look crooked. So that was a different thing. Hey, Steve says it's his first time joining. Pretty cool. Thank you, Steve. We appreciate you watching. For the first time. Steve's watching for the first time. All right, let's see what else we got. This is pretty good. You don't have extra people in the background.
Take the ketchup.
Take the ketchup out. Now, look, if you're turning this into a news wire, if this is news, the ketchup's got to stay.
Yeah.
If this is for your portfolio, an example of your work or something, the ketchup's got to go. And I'd take this little box out over here, too. If it's for your portfolio, if it's for news, of course you can. But you got the puck there. If I had given my choice, I'd love to see the puck coming just off the stick, but that's still pretty good. And this one's like night and day from the other one. Like it's nice and tight and focused. Now, I will tell you this. Normally, good sports shots have two people in it. Like two people fighting for the puck or something like that. Just a guy by himself with a puck, you can shoot that all day long. There's not a bunch of call for it, but this one's carried off way better than the other one. So,
and I like the bend in the stick, so it really looks like there's some force behind.
Yep. No, that's pretty good. And I think we have two more. Here we go. Car in the air, car. That's good. That's good. This is bad only because the wheels aren't spinning. So when the wheels aren't spinning, the car's parked on the track. So would he just zoomed up and hit the brakes? Of course, that's not the case. He's moving. But I get no sense really of movement. This helps a little, but really you would have to get a slow shutter speed. So you see now, even if you have to go cheat, there's actually a filter in Photoshop that is designed to do one thing, make wheels spin. But it's not it's the radial one. There's a new one. There's another new one. It's not the radial filter. There's another new one, and it literally is for spinning wheels. Spin those wheels, you got a winner. And this one, you're in such a great spot, you don't need to see it. I would tell you this. If this is for my portfolio, I'm getting rid of that stupid sign. This adds nothing. It just detracts from the shot. This one's okay.
Yeah, too much headroom, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I did anything, I would just crop in on it. A more dynamic crop would make it more interesting. You want to leave the space on this side because you always want to leave room for the car to move, so you don't want to make it so. I might even get it a little tighter. I think there's a lot better shot inside this shot. There we go.
Look at that.
I think there's a lot better shot in there. And you want that legendary Stephan sharpness. So sharpen the living daylights out of it. Go over here and just sharpen the crap out of it. That's too much crap. Whoa. Oh, this is a super low res. I'm like cranking this up like it's a high res photo.
I think what we always have to remember is we have to ask ourselves one question for every single photo. What is the hero? If we can't define the hero, then usually it's not a shot that we want to keep.
So let's ask this question. What's the hero here?
None.
None, zero. Just doing long exposure so you see light trails looks like something you'd be practicing in like a photo class at the community college. This isn't happening either.
Again, when you go one back, if you ask yourself what is the hero, there are so many heroes in here. They're all competing. You have to pick one hero and then focus on that.
Yeah, like the door.
I mean, there's so much interesting stuff there, but it all competes against each other. And at the end of the day, it's just walking past it, see it, take a photo, doesn't work in color, turn it black and white, increase the contrast, all right. Now, find the hero in the picture and focus on it and you will have a good shot.
Same thing here. These kind of look like, and don't get me wrong, because this is not going to sound good, but it looks like you're maybe in a photo group and you guys go out and you practice different techniques. Like tonight, we're all going to work on light trails. And it looks like you're focused on the technique and not the story you're trying to tell, because this is a nicely pulled off long exposure of a really boring subject. So these all look like you're learning the techniques, which is really good. And your good news is you're nailing the techniques. Now let's get it, like Stephan said, let's get a subject. We need a subject. When you get the subject, then everything else will fall into place, because the subject's more important than the fancy camera technique. The long exposure stuff is good. I love the long exposure stuff. So can I leave you guys with this before we go? So when I was doing this workshop in Venice last week, when we started to talk about travel photography, I started to talk about like what makes a good travel photo, and I listed a whole bunch of different things. But right up front, I told them one of the things that is very, very a thread that goes through a bunch of great photos is simplicity. And I went to 500px. I did this in front of the class. I went to 500px. And I went, let's type in the word Venice. We had Venice, and I had 3 different screens of images that were like, show up right away. Highly rated images, really great one. And I said, look at the simplicity. And it was photo after photo. It wasn't 5 gondolas. It wasn't 10 gondolas. It's a gondola. It's not a gondola with a bunch of graffiti and a bunch of stuff. Everything in there was just clean and simple and all. Now, look back on my screen. This is the exact opposite of it. You're looking to simplify the scene. And can we show Stephan's screen? Look at the simplicity here. I mean, that's just an absolutely amazing, gorgeous shot. But it's that simplicity. And that dancer that I liked so much earlier, the dancer with an empty scene, a dancer, a little bit of light. I'm telling you what, if you want your photography to get better faster, focus on creating very clean, simple scenes. Clean, simple scenes will rule the day. They really, really will. So spend your time on that. All right, we're going to do some giveaways. Where do we go to give away stuff? Well, we go to KelbyOne.com/contest to enter our contest to win free stuff. We give free stuff away every week because we lose with money. Number 1, we're giving away a Platypod Ultra. And I feel like in a couple of seconds, it's going to show up larger and more gratuitous. Bang. Right there. Platypod Ultra. Slowly turning.
But Juan really
Depth
has it under control,
and dimension. He was going all artsy. All right. We're going to give away my brand new Lightroom Classic book. It's on press right now. It'll be out soon. Here's a picture of it. If you want to win the Photoshop, the Lightroom Classic book, my brand new book, so new I don't even have it. This is it right here, Lightroom Classic. It's brand new with all the latest stuff in it, up to date. It's the only book of its kind because we waited forever to release it. So, or you can win the big platypod. So you can ask for the little platypod, the Ultra, the Max if you need the big one, or there's the big one right there, big one, or the book. Just give us your name, your address, your social security number, last 4 digits of your credit card, and just lead us to your Facebook page so we can scrape all the data. And just kidding, just totally kidding. And you're not a robot. Oh, but you are. Look, I can tell you what that shot's about. Look at that. The capture shot is at least about something. It's a stop sign.
Well, there's a hero right there.
There's your hero shot. The capture, I'm not a robot. Look, if you're getting beat by the capture shot, you got some work to do. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Ouch.
I know, it's not good. Okay. I do want to tell you, if you want to read something really, really interesting, today over on my blog, Mark Wegner. Now, Mark was one of the winners of our gallery contest. Mark's got amazing, amazing stuff. He's got a great guest blog today on my blog That's not it. That's last week's, but it's a good try. It's on it's on printing today on my blog. Let's see if
reload.
there it
There you
is.
go.
There it is. He goes into depth about printing, and it's really, really good. He does the thing on, he's called Presenting and Selling Your Photographs as Fine Art One-Offs. And Mark really knows this stuff. Tremendous photographer, great guy. He's my guest blogger today. You will love what he has to share. So go check it out at my blog at scottkelby.com. One more thing. Not this Friday, but next Friday night, we're doing something very special in the gallery at KelbyOne. We are doing an exhibition of KelbyOne instructor Moose Peterson's aviation photography. So that is next Friday. That would be Friday the 20th, I believe, at the gallery at KelbyOne here in Tampa, Florida. If you would like to come, if you're a KelbyOne member and you'd like to come, if you can't come and see Moose, meet Moose in person and see Moose's amazing images printed beautifully, hanging on the walls, and they're printed by our friends at Bay Photo. Come on by. It's a wine and cheese reception. It'll be Friday, so 2 Fridays from now, not this Friday, but a week from there. Afterwards, if you're not a member, you can watch the live interview where Moose will be talking about the images that he has displayed in the gallery. It's going to be a really fun night. And where can they go, Jen, to do this? Oh, if you're a KelbyOne member, go look in your email. Yeah. It will just tell you right there. Yeah, we sent it out. An email, I think, out today? Maybe yesterday, inviting all KelbyOne members. Now, we have people that come from out of state and all come to these openings. So Moose will be here in person, and his images, I cannot wait to see them printed on that
that will look
exposure
awesome.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I walked you through the gallery,
It's insane.
right?
Yeah.
I know. You have to see it in person because you've seen pictures of it.
Yeah, I've seen his work beforehand anyway, and I'm fascinated by what he's doing and the quirky English humor,
Oh, yeah.
everything. But once you see it in that size and that Bay Photo, the way they do it, it just adds that extra. But I'm a fan of prints anyway.
So am I.
I just, once you have that tangible thing
It's real.
Yeah. It's not just in the cloud.
All right. I know you have 1.5 million followers on social. Would you like a couple more? Where can people follow you?
Well, if they can spell my name, they can go to stephanbollinger.com, or even easier, if you know the champagne and you like champagne, you just go to bollinger.co. And CO doesn't stand for company. It's like the crazy guys from overseas. Yeah, Bollinger.
Are you on Twitter?
I am not on Twitter. I deleted my Twitter for the simple reason that we spend so much time on social media and being on 500 different places. I love Google Plus simply because there's no Zuckerberg. There's no.
I see what you did there.
There's no ads, and the pictures look beautiful. But I'm also on Instagram, and always the same name, Stephan Bollinger. That's that simple.
StephanBollinger. I know it's right because I looked out on his Lightroom there.
All right.
So we'll make sure I spelled it right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show, coming all the way down here, coming all the way from New
Breakfast
York,
show.
and going back tomorrow, where you're going to find out where the hottest new clubs in New York are.
Yeah.
The hottest new club is called Jen. They've got key fobs. They've got Juan. They've got Ron in the control room. I don't know what to say after that.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thanks to all of our awesome sponsors. And I hope I'll see some of you on Friday in Columbus, Ohio. That's in Ohio, right, Columbus? You wouldn't know.
It's somewhere up there.
It's somewhere. Columbus is definitely somewhere. I think it's up there. It's in the cloud.
Look,
cloud base.
It's up there.
It's a cloud base. Ooh.
Somewhere up there. See?
So